Megaman X7.
So, we're finally here, huh? Can't put it off forever, I suppose. If I want to get to X8 and command mission, I need to do this eventually. But oh boy. Oh boy, this game. This game is already pretty famous for being as bad as X6 at the best. But I'll get more into what I think about it as we progress through. After I get through the options, though, it's time for arguably the second biggest thing this game introduces to the series outside of the certain new character. Fully voiced cutscenes in English.
This is it. Ready to rock?
I'm always ready.
What the?
You wait here.
I guess you've heard of Red Alert.
Safe here. Somebody must have leaked the information. Huh? Who's there?
It's Mia, Luce.
It was the perfect plan. How did they find out? Hmm?
You're not very sharp, are you?
What the? You were the traitor?
No. I took care of him a second ago.
What happened? How did you do that?
Sometime in the 22nd century. Thanks to the Reploids, even the most devastated regions were set back on the road to recovery. But crimes perpetrated by Mavericks were on the rise. The Maverick Hunters was the official organization that responded to incidents involving Mavericks. One of the veteran members, X, began having second thoughts about the group's forceful methods. He removed himself from the front lines and instead worked to achieve more peaceful solutions.
Why must Reploids fight one another? I've had enough violence.
With the Maverick Hunters crippled by X's retirement, an underground organization filled the vacuum. And thus, Red Alert, the illegal band of bounty hunters who pursued Mavericks, was born. Soon, there was not a single Reploid that had not heard of Red Alert and their charismatic leader, Red. One day, a young Reploid and key member of Red Alert made the decision to leave the group. This decision would change destiny itself.
Goodbye, Red. I'll become a hunter. On my own.
And thus, a new battle began.
Ready?
Not really, but oh well. Let's get started, shall we? Like in X6, you can press the select button for tutorials. A security laser? No problem. Attack it when it locks onto the closest target and turns yellow. When the laser's off, you can get through. Starting off, X7 does at least control pretty close to the PlayStation games, even if a bit sluggish. X for jump, circle for dash, square for fire, all that sort of stuff. You must turn both security lasers off. You can switch the lock-on with the R2 button. We even have a lock-on now for reasons that'll become more apparent when that number in the top right changes. You must hurry, so dash past the lasers while they're off. Push the directional button twice, or use the circle button. Dashing is a bit finicky in this game to start, though, at least in terms of feel, because you start and stop a lot more suddenly with it. Uh-oh. You'll have to take out the main security laser. Use hover, push and hold the X button. New guy here has a completely new control, though. He can basically pull a hover move out of X's X4 armor. With that said, if you try firing while doing it, you do immediately fall, and it's a little bit awkward to get used to because of that. Honestly, I don't use it too much. Air dashes I find in general to be much more effective ways of getting me around. With that said, the hover can come in handy in the most dire of scenarios. New for X7, though, is 3D sections. Is that a runner bomb? Press the triangle button and use A-Trance to steal its ability and render it harmless. In this, you have full 3D control. You can use the analog stick or the D-pad, whatever, and now you just need to get around some 3D environments. With that said, most of them come down to just being hallways with not much in the way of actual, like, platforming in them. But new guy here, whose name might start with an A if you can't tell by the top right, does have a new ability. If you hold triangle, you start up a secondary charge, and if you hit enemies that are about his size with that enough, they'll explode as usual, but drop a new item. Unfortunately, these guys do a bit of damage. Using this will activate his A-Trance ability, which transforms him into them and gives him their abilities. Some enemies can go through certain doors, some can stand on spikes, some just have powerful weapons. Sometimes it feels like you're somewhat invincible when you're like this, other times not so much. I think it's mostly a tutorial stage thing. And you just unceremoniously cut back when you're done, too. The 3D control is actually pretty sharp, it's just that your movement speed I find to be a bit sluggish. A radar droid! Those creeps reflect my attacks. Some enemies, like Metools did in the main games, now have shields that will only dissipate after you spam fire them enough or if they open up their weak points as well, though certain other playable characters might have ways around that. The final security door. To open it, you need to attack the core while it's red. If you fail, it'll close. Use the R2 button to toggle the lock-on, and hit it directly. Admittedly, toggling lock-on outside of this isn't used too often, so you don't need to worry about the very precise timings of this. But I should note with this particular door, if you shoot the core while it's blue, or you miss the red core, the cores will fire at you, and the door resets, so you have to go again until you eventually get it. It's not too hard. But it is important to get used to this, more so for X8 in my eyes, honestly. More on that eventually. Also, all load times will be cut out in Part 2 on. I just wanted to show you what they're more or less like. Some of them are a bit longer than others. Depends if you're loading a boss fight or cutscene, really.
Phew! Somebody please tell me I'm through with the worst of it.
I can't believe I'm back here again. What the heck has happened? They really made a mess.
But now it's time to play as our good old friend, Zero. Zero is still the very close-range fighter he's been since X4, but instead of a 1-2-3 sword combo with his saber, he has a 1-2-3-4. His range is pretty pitiful, though, I feel, compared to the other games, especially in the 3D sections, but he also still retains his double jump, high damage output, and new to this game, he has the ability to reflect any and all projectiles that fly towards him as long as you time a saber slash pretty well. His dash is still pretty dashy, honestly. And what I mean by that is, it feels like it goes for a good length. The reason I say that is, despite me loving X8, a very odd control thing they did to Zero was they made his dash, I think, slightly faster, but much shorter in range. Still, though, this looks a little familiar, doesn't it? Fighting the B-copters, they're dropping the little roller guys. They lampshaded it a little bit, but this is, I believe, outright meant to be the exact same highway from the beginning of Mega Man X1. Makes you wonder if it's this open to attack, why they don't guard it better, but oh well. And it's, admittedly, I find the reuse of this place a little bit shallow here, but I'm gonna let it pass just the slightest bit, because A, if memory serves, this game was released through 2003, 2004, which would make it the 10th anniversary game, more or less, for Mega Man X. On top of the fact that I believe that was part of the Mega Man 15th anniversary stuff anyway, so I'll allow a little more nostalgia pandering for Mega Man than usual in that. Though, admittedly, I think Mega Man X8 does a better job at being an anniversary game than X7 could ever hope to be. But that's just because I find X8 to be a good game. I'll be leading more into this as we go through, but there is a little bit of an ongoing argument between different factions of Mega Man fans and whether or not X7 or X6 is the worst game. I personally find X7 to be the worst game, but more on why as we go through it. Now, the 3D sections, when you're playing as the new guy, or X later on, aren't too bad because you have range, but playing as Zero in most of the 3D sections is very awkward, as while the hitbox on the Saber is surprisingly forgiving in terms of range, I find aiming still to be a little bit of a task, especially given some of the platforming situations they want you to do in certain stages with the characters as it is. So even though I'm going to be using Zero a good bit throughout the game, I'd recommend prioritizing him for 2D sections rather than 3D. Also, the jumping controls in 3D are the exact same, but maybe it's just a psychological thing. The camera does things to my head here, or makes me think that the jump has either more or less momentum than it should. My recommendation, always dash jump. I detect a Mega Man X staple since at least X2. Oh, hey, here's the intro stage crusher segment. How are you doing? Oh, man. Cutscene time.
Out of the way! Out of the way!
Huh? Wait a second.
Are you stupid? You're in danger if you just stand there. Get a move on!
Are you connected to this incident?
Incident? What are you talking about? Oh, here it comes. So I'll be seeing ya.
What's going on?
Could you have said that more flatly, Zero? Goddamn. And now we got a little bit of a chase sequence. The Scorpion Mechanoid tries its best to keep up, but honestly, as long as you stay around where I am, it doesn't stand much of a chance of hitting you, since you can knock back its projectiles. With that said, some of the jumps here can be a bit stressful. I know I died there a lot on my first playthrough when I was younger.
You've got some explaining to do.
Okay, I'll tell you everything, but later. Right now, I have to take care of that freak. You're Zero, so you can handle this, right? I'm Axel. Call me if you need a hand.
Oh, this has become a real pain. I want a full explanation when this is all over.
Time for our intro boss against the, I think this thing's name is the Mega Scorpio. It's got a couple of different attacks, a few more than usual, honestly. It can jump across the stage and dash to try and hit you, which you can just dash under or hold down on the D-pad to duck. It can fire lasers out of its tail, which Zero can knock right back at to eventually destroy the tail. It can stab a couple times with its claws, which you can, again, just destroy to nullify that attack. And it can also fire a giant energy wave across a lot of the screen, which you can just wall jump up the walls to avoid. In the case Zero or Axel start getting low on health, you can just press the L2 button to switch over, as they both do a good job at whittling down the health of this thing, I find. Though, personally, for my playstyle, I do prefer the long range over the close range, even if Zero does do more damage in general than Axel will. With that said, when it comes to the player switching, both characters have completely unique health bars and special weapon gauges. So feel free, if you're ever low on health throughout the game, to just switch to the other one. Although you will need to grab any health and weapon ups to restore the other person's health eventually. Also, if I'm recalling correctly, the reason we have multiple playable characters this time around, they were actually planning some form of multiplayer for this game, but I can't imagine how that would work in any regard. I can only imagine multiplayer Mega Man working in the ways the Battle Network and Star Force games do it, let alone Battle and Chase, and I guess Mega Man X-Type from what I've seen. Either way, that's Mega Scorpio. Pretty easy. Now for a really good stage clear theme. I love that stage clear theme. It's probably one of my favorites. Time for a lot of plot.
I'm not gonna run off, so could you take this thing off? It makes me feel like a criminal.
Feel like a criminal?
Okay. Maybe what I did was wrong, but like, we were a perfect team, don't you think? When we kicked that big dude's butt, I thought, yeah, we would make a great combo. So, where's X been lately? I haven't seen him around.
Sit tight. He's just beyond this door. Here he is.
Nice work, Zero.
So, you're the one who caused all this trouble.
I guess so. I had no idea they'd send that kind of gear after us.
Here? Who's after you?
I left Red Alert. Believe it or not, I'm a hunter.
Red Alert? You mean that gang of wannabe vigilantes?
Do you realize how much damage your internal bickering has caused?
I apologize for that, but I had to leave. As for what happened as a result, that's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes? Do you have any idea?
Cool it. All right, Axel. Why don't you start by telling us why you left?
Red Alert changed. They're no better than murderers now. They used me. We used to only attack the bad guys, but not anymore. I couldn't take it.
They're going to come for Axel, no doubt.
This is our chance. Red Alert has caused us far too much trouble.
How can you say that? If we fight, we'll fall right into their hands. We can't allow this madness to continue.
I know what you mean, X, but we can't talk them out of this. Sometimes fighting is the only choice.
That's quite enough. You need to back off and pay the dues for your crimes. Alia, what happened?
Unidentified transmission. Feeding to monitor.
You getting this, hunters? I'm Red, leader of your friends here at Red Alert. I never imagined our little friend would end up in your hands, but in any case, I want Axel back. Now, don't you worry. I know he won't come back easily. So how about this? Like you, we're hunters. We've trashed our share of Mavericks. So how about a duel? A duel to determine who the real Maverick hunters are. I'm sure you won't mind if we use the Mavericks that we've captured so far. So the last one standing wins. If we lose, we'll surrender Axel to you. And if we win, well, we'll leave that to your imagination.
You've got to be kidding! Axel has nothing to do with us. We won't fight the likes of you for his sake.
Well, pretty big talker for a retiree. We could care less about deadbeats like you. We just want Axel. He is there, isn't he? Now, you just sit tight, my boy.
They're already on the move. Mavericks are showing up across the map. I'll check for damage.
I'm sorry. This is all my fault.
Well, this is turning into a real mess.
X, you said I need to pay my dues, right? So make me a Maverick Hunter. Me and Zero make a great team, and together we could take care of Red Alert.
Are you mad? You have no business as a hunter.
I'm serious. It would be a perfect chance to make up for my wrongdoing.
If you had just gone back, the problem would have been solved. But I can see that won't be happening.
Right. These aren't run-of-the-mill criminals. They won't listen to reason. And even if Axel did go back, which he won't, would they stop their misdeeds? I don't think so.
Zero, you're my hero. Hey, I knew you'd understand. I always thought you and X were so cool. I want to fight. I want to be a Maverick Hunter.
Not just anybody can become a hunter, kid.
We're not getting anywhere with this. I'm ready to go.
No, wait.
I'm going by myself. As for you, you can do as you please.
Yeah. X, if I catch all the bounty hunters, you've got to promise me you'll let me be a Maverick Hunter.
Talk is cheap. Prove it to me first. And don't forget this.
Okay, I won't let you down.
Another pointless conflict has begun.
X, don't overthink this. This time our only choice is to fight.
We've made this mistake time and time again. Why must Reploids continue this accursed cycle of aggression?
Oh boy, I'll talk more about the voice acting in a part or two, but I really do not like what they did with X's personality in this game. It's like they took his musings from the end of all the prior ones and then just said, screw it, that's all he is for this game. With that said, here is your post-stage setup. You're always going to get a screen allowing you to go save or go straight to the stage select. I'm only showing off saving the once just because, just so you can see what it's all like. With that said, like we have had since Mega Man X4, we do have different intro themes depending on whether or not you're playing the American or Japanese versions of the game. And I'll have to look around, but I don't think they replaced either of these for any version of the Mega Man X Legacy Collection. So let's now go take a listen after I hit the stage select button to the Japanese intro to the game. I believe its name is Code Crush, if memory serves. I actually haven't edited it into the timeline yet. And otherwise, with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 2, we're going to the stage select and going after our first Maverick or so. See you guys then.